Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the MNC show. We are live. Actually, they can't hear us right now. Let's give me a second. Good morning, everybody. We are live.
Are we?
We're live.
It's deja vu. We are live. What's up, everybody? How you doing? It is the MNC show. First thing I'd like you all to do is please like the video and share it out. Tell your friends, all that kind of good stuff. Let's get some people in here. I know it's a Sunday morning or whatever, so obviously a good part of the user base and viewers and stuff are maybe in California. They're probably still sleeping, right, Mooch? I mean, that's what you do over there. I mean, you live yes. Over there, and that's what you do.
It's what you do, Crap. You know, you get up. You have there's no actual due dates. There's coffee served all day long. I don't know why there's coffee served, right? I mean, coffee is usually a stimulant to keep you up, keep you moving, keep you focused. Over there, you just take your time. You know, there's no rush.
I agree 100%. Welcome to everybody who has taken their time out to join us today. Listen, Mooch, I like doing the show. It's a little bit harder doing the show than on a Sunday morning, right?
Absolutely.
Like it's just a little bit harder to do a show like this. Because a lot of people maybe just after one thing or the other. For us, I just think it's fun to do a morning show. And if you are kind of just joining us, the whole idea behind this was originally the idea that, we were both Howard Stern fans. And so we liked the idea of a morning show. And that's kind of how we got started. Because a lot of people always ask us, well, how did you guys even get started with doing like a morning show? And honestly, that's why, we were Howard Stern fans. And I think you came up with the idea and you were like, hey, I got this idea. And I was like, You know what? I love that idea. You know what I mean? So I actually wish that we could go all in again, man, like how we used to with the bits and stuff. I want to get to that.
Well,
I think that's
the great Nova is he's working on it. And Nova,
I love the producer.
He's great.
Thank you.
He's working on his PC. And Nova, I'll let you speak to it. You got all kinds of parts coming in. Yes. You're building this like super computer. And I think when you're all said and done, we're gonna have one hell of a show here.
Oh yeah. So everyone, I got all my parts. I'm just waiting on this damn AMD 5900X. And if you don't know, that's like the cream of the crop for AMD. But it's been on back order and they keep pushing it back. And I'm also waiting on my motherboard. Besides that, I got everything. So once I get everything in, the show, we're going to go through a little overhaul. Probably, take me about a week or two to get ready. And we're bringing the bits back, the voicemails, all that great stuff that you guys expect from MNC. So, yeah, we're looking forward to it. And Mooch, I might even just get something in the interim until, my high-end stuff comes in just to, start the work, make it work.
Well, I've seen the work that you do on Insomniac's podcast and the work you do with the crew over there, and it's just amazing. So we're very excited to see what you can parlay over to the show. And I know the audience can't wait to see it. Me and Crap want to kind of, like you say, get back into some bits and have some fun with that. I think the audience will really kind of dig it. And, because, let's be honest, even with a slow news week, there's still plenty to talk about in the gaming space, right? It doesn't really matter what it is. Sometimes it's like, self-made, like, like just kind of like controversy that's going on with developers or news media, or something's happening with a certain console, or a game's releasing here that we didn't expect, or there's a delay over there. There's always news and there's always something to talk about. So even today, Crap, I mean, there's still a lot to talk about, even on a seemingly slow news week.
Yeah, that's I think what's really good about doing a show regardless. I think that we're able to kind of hit on topics. Plus, it's a little bit different, with just us kind of doing it versus like a whole panel or whatever. And we can really take like a lot of what the audience and stuff like that has to say into account, which I think is very smart. Yes. I mean, I always like to feed off the audience and kind of see what kind of direction they're going in, because a lot of them, they're, a lot of smart people and they have, an opinion. And when you talk about like different podcasts and stuff, most of these audiences don't really have much of a say one way or the other about what's going on. So I always like to get them involved and kind of, let them feel good about that. Because obviously, I mean, they're the ones that are coming out to watch you. So, they're spending their time with you. And I think that's like just really important. And so I'm always respectful of the audience and stuff like that. So it's a really good time. Now, Mooch, you were going to stream something yesterday.
I was.
I saw a vote.
The vote didn't go well.
I put in my vote, which was definitely not the medium. That's not my bag. I don't even know what this is. So like
I didn't get to it. And you know the thing about it, shout out to Worrywart, who's also in the chat. I ended up doing a movie night with the family instead. But I got to be honest with you, I wanted to see, and I should have done the poll earlier in the day yesterday.
Yeah.
I waited too long. I did it when it was either going to be you know what or get off the pot. It was do it or don't. And I had an hour before I was going to go live, and I did a quick poll. And I mean, listen, I only got 100 people back, and I think it was less than an hour, I think. And out of the 100 people, I think it was like just about 51 or 52% said don't stream it. You know, so the medium is really hitting everybody. It's polarizing, right? Crap. It's got half the audience is saying it's decent for what it is. I'm enjoying the game for again what it is. But it's nothing that's thrilling. It doesn't seem like it's a must play. I don't think people are saying that. And shout out to the great RGT85, Sean, who was on Crossfire. You heard him say this crap. And I thought that he said, I've been saying this for a while. When he said it resonates with a lot of gamers. And that is when something's in Game Pass and you have Game Pass, it's kind of like there's no rush, right? I don't feel this seeming like rush to get to that game. It feels like I'll get to it when I get to it. And that's because I'm noticing that there's no hype over the course of like, I'll give you an example. I don't even like Hitman. I don't like Hitman. I've never liked the series. I've never been a big fan of it. But I had more of an inclination to play Hitman 3 when it came out than I did because you saw it everywhere. I mean, everybody was streaming it. Everybody was playing it. All the media outlets were doing reviews or in-depth looks. Okay. Digital Foundry did their thing about it. Everybody was talking about it. Then the medium comes out and it's like, I see like you see glimpses and blurbs and just pop-ups of people kind of playing it. And whenever you talk to somebody and say, hey, are you into playing this game? They'll go, yeah, I'll play it eventually. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, no, listen, you're right. And here's the thing that I want to say, and this happens, you know, for a lot of like, I hate to say, look, there's great Xbox fans out there. I want to be clear. Okay. There are great Xbox fans, like fans who can see the good, fans who can see the bad, fans who aren't afraid to call it out. You know, and I give nothing but respect to those fans. And then there's the ones that, you know, don't really admit anything negative. Okay, the fans like what I'm talking about are the ones that, you know, bleeding edge. So that was sort of a thing, right? Bleeding edge. They stopped support for that. I mean, you can make an argument they literally stopped support for that after it launched because I think they did one update for it and one extra character. I mean, that game from the beginning, I don't hate to tell people I told you so, but I said that game looks like hot garbage. It was hot garbage. Nobody played it. The same Xbox fanatics and fanboys that damage control everything that Microsoft does. They were forcing themselves much on Twitter and social media to tweet out pictures of them playing that game. You know, woo, look at me having fun, man. I'm playing Bleeding Edge. This game is the hotness, right? Yeah. Meanwhile, we knew that game never really exceeded like 1,500 people online at the same time. So, you know, when that game closes down less than a year later, you sort of go, oh, well, you know, I told you so. And it would have been nice for the Xbox fans or the fanboys, to like just admit from the beginning, that's a crap game. You know, they should have spent their time elsewhere doing exactly what they're going to do. Now those developers are going to go help with Hellblade 2, right?
Well,
like imagine what they could have been.
Right.
Yeah, now imagine what those 40 or 35 developers could have been doing for the previous 2 years on Hellblade 2, right? Like that makes all the difference in the world. That's people. When I mention and we mention poor leadership, that's what we're talking about. Poor leadership. You have to be in touch with what your fans want. And when I say that, listen, I'm sure everybody loves Phil Spencer. I get it. Oh boy, do they love him. The quote, you know, the guy from you know what I'm talking about, Mooch, the guy from Dodgeball, right? He's like, they love you. Boy, do they love you.
That's Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller. They love Phil Spencer. I get it, right? I get it. What a guy he is, man, and he's handsome as all day. But you know, for me personally, it takes more than that to win me over into gaming. You know, like you have to be able to go out there and do stuff, and it's not just on Phil Spencer. Look, Booty, that whole crowd, right? Because look, who in their right mind, and this also goes with people that don't believe Phil Spencer was the one behind trying to raise the price of Xbox Live Gold 100%. Listen, and we'll get into that later as well, but of course Phil knew.
Right.
Of course he knew, right? But look, when you look at who's okaying these games, I get it that you want to have these developers sort of do their own thing and you want to trust these developers, but you got to have good leadership because you still are, at the end of the day, a business and you're trying to appease your fan base. Okay. So when you put out a game like Bleeding Edge, there was nobody excited by that, even from the original announcement.
Right.
You know, I never saw anybody get hyped for that. Like, you got to be in tune with your fans. Like, I don't see people hyped for Tell Me Why, or, you know what I'm saying? No. I understand, I guess, why they brought back Battletoads because it was a joke years ago or whatever. I get that, but I mean, the way that they brought that back was kind of ridiculous.
Well, that's the thing. That's why when people say, "Aren't you excited about 2023 and beyond?" I say the words I say are kind of. And they go, "Well, Mooch, how could you say that? I mean, look at how promising things are looking." Well, listen, when we originally heard Battletoads being a great example, crap, before we knew what Battletoads was going to be, we thought Battletoads was going to get this new 2020, 2021 kind of look, feel, gritty, make those frogs look really kind of gruesome and, you know, battle ready, and take it to the next level. And clearly they didn't. And I understand now, you know, Monday Morning Quarterback, what do you say? Oh, you're like, well, look at Mooch, they didn't do that. Okay, well, they went with something simpler, something fast just to get it out. So do I think Avowed or anything like that is going to happen? No, those will be bigger budget games for sure. But again, the reason I pump the brakes and say, hold on, let's not just say 2023, 2024 just belongs to Xboxes. When those games come out, how good are they going to be? And when you look at the situation right now where you have Bethesda and you had Phil actually come out and say, I believe it was Phil, if it wasn't Phil, it was Matt Booty, one of them had said, like, we're going to let them continue to be an independent studio, meaning Bethesda. So basically Fallout 5, which will have a Microsoft stamp on it, right? It'll have an Xbox logo, Xbox Game Studios. That's true. But ultimately, what I'm not too excited about is this. When Sony went out and acquired an Insomniac Games then took some of the beloved titles they made for Sony, like Ratchet and Clank, and we're going to get that PS5 edition coming out soon. And then you're going to be able to not only use the old portfolio in the essence and skill set that they have for those older titles, then you're going to see Insomniac be able to create and do something brand new, a new IP. And that's the thing. I want to see Bethesda create new IP, something original, and then it launches only on Xbox. And I don't know if that's going to happen, especially now with what we've seen transpire with the Xbox Live Gold situation. You're probably saying, well, Mooch, how are you tying these together? The way I'm tying them together, crap, is this. Since now they can't charge extra for that Xbox Live Gold that they were planning to do, they're going to have to, I think more, not all. I mean, Bethesda makes a lot of ZeniMax. They make a lot of games. They own a lot of IP. But I think like the Fallouts and the Dooms, they're still going to be multi-plat. If it's not day one, it'll be month 3 or month 6. But they're going to still be a multi-plat title. You'll be able to play those on your PlayStation.
I agree.
And possibly even Switch. You know, Starfield, new IP, that might stay exclusive. And that's what I'm excited for.
That's smart. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Listen, if the stuff that they can actually make exclusive, and it should be exclusive, they shouldn't have to pussyfoot around. I got another point to make, but I want to get to a couple of these super chats. Wooly Gamer, shout out to that guy. Balls to the wall, dude. Really cool guy. Love him. He's on Saltiest Gaming Podcast. He says MNC with Nova, 100% like coffee in the morning, and it's 5 p.m. here. Huge shout out to Nova for his genius. Done a great job, brother. Absolutely.
Completely agree.
Nova is great. Thank you, Wooly. Sir X-Man goes, give it to Luca. He says, I want that 6900 XT, but that's on back order too. Yeah, I don't know anything about PCs, but I understand every damn thing's on back order nowadays. Sir X-Man says, can't help this. Developers. We got to get that too, Nova.
Yes,
we got to download that. I missed that. Developers. Mr. Twister says, salute to the best gaming duo, MNC. You damn right we are. And we appreciate that. That's we've been doing this a long time, and hopefully like the chemistry is like I think unmatched anywhere, so that's really good. So again, my original point, Mooch, was this. When it comes down to what Microsoft and Sony are doing, you have like the game we got, God of War in 2018. We wouldn't have gotten that great game if it wasn't for Yoshida going out there to Sony Santa Monica, playing what they had and saying, this is no good,
right?
This is boring. You got to do something. You got to redo this. Okay.
That shows how humble they are over there, that they'll be able to go in there and critique their own work. Right now, that comes out after the fact. But crap, that's an important stat that you have to put out there, which I think what you're alluding to, and I'll let you finish, but that's not what we're seeing from Team Xbox.
Yeah, like Team Xbox seems to be like, okay, put out whatever you want. We're going to give you your independence. And, listen, when you've got everybody working under your umbrella, I don't know if it really works that way. Because if you look at Bethesda games, okay, and I understand that there's a lot of people happy for this, but if you look at Bethesda, they're known for really putting out these buggy kind of incomplete games. Like, I think you want to do, and if you're at Microsoft, don't you want to kind of better that situation so that games aren't buggy and they aren't known for that, because I feel like that they're not doing a really good job of that so far. If they're just going to let them keep their independence, you have to kind of rein that in a little bit. Well, and you have to kind of,
let me ask you a question, Crab.
Yeah.
Do you think now with all these acquisitions that they've made, these teams that they've brought on to the Xbox Game Studios, and now we're hearing that another big acquisition is probably on the way, are they getting to the point where they're so big, right? They're going to be getting so big with ownership of different properties and IP that this is just going to spin even more out of control as we move forward. Because let me tell you something. If you've got a staff of 25 people, this is not Microsoft, I'm just talking hypothetical. If you have a staff of 25 people and you can see that they're putting out, mid-range work, maybe slightly above mid-range work, and it's starting, you can see that the upper management doesn't have their finger on the pulse. And then all of a sudden you go from 25 to 100. With the same management in place and the employees being scattered all over the world, because that's their respected living area. You see that this could possibly, even though they get more, what they're going to do is get more studios and let them run independent. And that sounds really, really great when you're at the bargaining table. But I think when it comes down to it, the less that you have the ability to have hands-on, and I'm going to paraphrase because I can't quote exactly, but the great David Jaffe did make a point on the Saltiest Gaming podcast. Something along the lines of, if Sony saw that even a team that they had like Blooper Team was having a bit of a hard time or an issue making the hardware work, they would send a team out and make sure that those types of pop-ins and texture issues, frame rate hiccups would all have been tackled before the game came out, well before. Where Microsoft, you're seeing it doesn't seem they're doing that. I'm not saying they're not, but it doesn't seem they're doing that. And now as they grow larger, is it even harder to keep your finger on the pulse?
Yeah, I think that it probably is. And not only that, but I want to say that I feel like David Jaffe is halfway right there looking back at things, because if you want to think about it, like Sony really hyped the hell out of No Man's Sky, right? And I was thinking about that the other day when I was trying to be fair about it, right? So Sony did kind of allow that in that current state, and that game was total butt when it first released,
that is
right?
Correct.
Like
I
think it's great now. I do. Yeah. I think it's especially really great in VR. But I think that game really was kind of butt, and it's unfortunate that it released in that state. But I do think that Sony has helped some of the smaller developers along the way with these type of games, and I feel like with Microsoft. But I also feel like I said, Sony has these big AAAs that are kind of in the cut. You know what I mean? They have these big AAAs always waiting there. So if you have a AA that maybe missed the mark a little bit, it's not as big of a deal, where Microsoft seemed completely dependent and totally dependent on these little small games filling up their entire year this year. If you look at their releases for this year, aside from Halo, they're all little small releases, no bigger than the medium for the most part.
That's right.
So, like that's what I talk about when I talk about like games and stuff like that. And, when you think about it, today, and I know people don't like to hear this, officially 513 days without a AAA exclusive release from Microsoft. That's today, as of today. So that to me is something that I don't think enough people are talking about. Look how fast Microsoft changed course with people complaining about the 100% price hike of Xbox Live, right? Like people really changed course pretty fast. Okay. Imagine if everybody did put that same energy into hashtags for, 513 days without a AAA. Imagine how fast Microsoft would have to, try and work something out. Like, again, we probably wouldn't get something big, but listen, you can't tell me that that over the past 4 years or 5 years that it took to plan the Series X and the S, Microsoft couldn't. I mean, they had to realize they don't have the studios, right? Oh, they have this plan to get studios. Great. But there's plenty of IP just laying around, Mooch, that they could have got. Like, why not go to EA and get Titanfall 3 exclusive to your platform?
Right.
Right? Why not do that? The first Titanfall was amazing. And like the second Titanfall, I really love the campaign, but why not like rent out that studio that did Titanfall and have them do a Titanfall game. Maybe just a multiplayer only. Go back to the way the Titanfall 1
I can
was.
answer that. I can answer that question, Crap.
What's that?
There's an easy answer. It's Game Pass. So that's the reason. They're spending their money on Game Pass, services, and acquired studios. That's where the money's going. So even though that sounds like a really boring answer, and I apologize, there's no lackluster, there's no you know what I mean? There's no punchline. That's the answer. So if you go back to what you're looking for, this is before Game Pass, before when they just had their home studios that we knew about. They would go out and they would lobby and they would grab Respawn and they would say, hey, we want to have exclusive rights. And would talk to EA, they would talk to Respawn, they would talk to whoever the publishers were, and they would lock these things down. They did the same thing with Tomb Raider. They did, like you said, Titanfall. There's a few games that they did that with. Rise, right, with Crytek. It goes on and on. Sunset Overdrive with the great, I mean, come on. That's my point. And now that's not those things that you're asking for are out now because that money is now obligated to Game Pass and grabbing. And remember what I said on Friday too, Crap. They are not just buying Ninja Theory. They're building Ninja Theory an entirely brand new set, a brand new building, a brand new everything. And that's not just Ninja Theory. This is big time money being thrown into. And the problem I have with it isn't any of that. I think that's wonderful. I think that's great. That's what Microsoft's always needed to do. We both agree with that. The problem I have is that they're buying these companies. They're saying, look, you're talented. We like your resume. Now just do what you do. And we'll see you when we see you. You know what I mean? There doesn't seem to be any emphasis on a quality control. And there doesn't seem to be an emphasis on time. And if anybody in the chat or is listening later says, Mooch, I don't agree with you, I have to turn and say, please do me a favor and look at 343. You've got 500, 600 in-house employees, doesn't count all the contractors on the outside, $600 million budget. This was the only game to launch with the Series X. And if you don't believe me, just turn your box around. Halo's plastered all over the back of it. And nobody in upper management had any idea until the July 23rd showing that the game wasn't ready. I mean, that's 4 months before your console launches. I mean, you knew that this was what you were going into next gen and it was going to hold you over for at least 12 to 18 months. I mean, this is nothing. I mean, if the consumer knows, somebody inside the boardroom knows.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So when you say, Mooch, I just don't agree with you. That's fine. You don't have to. All I'm saying is that that's the concern I have is who has their finger on the pulse? Who had their finger on 343? Bonnie, Ross, Matt, Phil. I mean, it goes. You guys decide the pecking order. I'm just trying to say to you.
If you look at leaders at the different studios, I think some of them have decent leaders. I think like Dan Greenewalt over there at Turn 10, and I think I forget the guy's name.
Dan is great.
At Playground, I think that guy. Yes, I think he's a pretty good one. I think probably you're pretty safe with Tim Schafer at Double Fine.
Oh, Tim runs. I mean, Tim's going to run his ship as tight as he's always run that ship.
Exactly. Yeah. Listen, and people that I'll play through Psychonauts 2, Mooch. I'll play it. I'm
going to sound like you. I'm not sure. I'm not bashing it. I don't know if that's my jam, but I'm definitely going to, I'll look into it. But
I like they gave the first one away. I don't know if you downloaded it or bothered with it, but it's a bad aspect ratio. Those like when you play those old games and it only takes up part of the screen. It's kind of got a bad, but this new one, it's a platform and it looks pretty fun.
Yeah.
I think
I'll give it a shot.
Some of their studios have decent leadership and stuff like that. I think in long run, depending on what Bethesda decide what they do with Bethesda, things could change. Zombilla Ice Cream says, how will this affect Fable, Game Pass, etc.? Well, listen, here's the thing that I always say, right? And I get a lot of hate for it. I said probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, when Microsoft started buying these studios, I said, hey, I like these pickups, but you know what? It kind of seems to me like if you just use your common sense, look at what these developers are doing now. Some of them hadn't even put out games yet. Some of them, you know what I mean? And so if they were to just start on a new project after they put out their game, you got to figure 3 to 5 years. And I said 2023, 2024 for a lot of these games. Not saying we couldn't get one out in 2022 or late 2022. I think maybe if Hellblade 2 could be ready by the end of next year, for example, right? Again, that could be one. A lot of people thought that would come out this year, but I kind of remind people, Unreal Engine 5 is the engine that's going to run that, and that engine doesn't even come out till the very end of this year. So, I mean, yes, they can work on the game until then because they can just switch it over, but it isn't easy as you think. Let's just switch it over. I mean, they're still got to do work. You know what I mean? So I still think that, and then you'd probably have to run bug checks and all that kind of stuff again. Right. So, I figure like that game has maybe an outside shot at coming out next year towards sometime, maybe a Forza game next year sometime. So I do think that
the rumor is Forza Horizon is going to have, possibly another Hot Wheels extension. Is that still
I mean, that was a rumor. I think Jeff Grubb maybe said something about that too. I don't know. Okay. I don't want to, if he didn't, then I don't want to misspeak, but I did read that on a site or two that supposedly there was going to be another thing like that. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But, I think that the way that Microsoft did things was a little bit wrong. Like, listen, another franchise like Dead Rising. I thought Dead Rising 3 was such a good game, and I actually liked Dead Rising 4. It was a year launch exclusive for Xbox. I mean, it wasn't as good. It was like a AA kind of Dead Rising because if I go back, look, Dead Rising 3
pretty good to be honest with you.
Yeah. Dead Rising 3 had humor to it, but it was a little bit more serious, right? Like you had you could still have a dildo gun if you wanted. So I think that's great. But it's like at the end of the day, it was a little bit more serious, open world. No two zombies looked alike. You know what I mean? It was
impressive. And that's coming out on the very weak, Xbox One OG edition 2013.
Of course, it was 720p, Mooch. So that was what got that got a lot of the attention. But imagine if they could have got a studio to do another Dead Rising game exclusive to Xbox. This is what I'm saying. Look, they could have easily said, hey, can we get an Alan Wake 2 Remedy for the launch of our Xbox? Could we get a Quantum Break 2? And I mean, we got Control, which is kind of like a spiritual thing, I guess, but why couldn't that have been a sequel to Quantum Break? Why couldn't we have got another Killer Instinct? It doesn't even have to be a full Killer Instinct. Launch with 6 characters like you did originally, and then add characters. Like, that would have been something, you know what I mean?
Well, it's like who made the Killer Instinct of Xbox One?
Double Helix started
Double Helix, correct? And then
Iron Galaxy took over.
Iron Galaxy, thank you.
Double Helix got bought by Amazon.
Now, neither of those companies are owned by Microsoft, though.
No.
Okay, so therein lies, I guess my answer comes to the forefront again. They don't own those companies, so if they don't own them, they're not going to reach out and make a deal. And the company, you can clearly see that the companies that they're acquiring, like Ninja Theory and Bethesda Studios, they've already got games in the works or plans for games to come in the future. So there's no way Xbox is going to go, hey, Bethesda Softworks, guess what? I know you guys are working on this new IP, but nah. How about you guys do a Killer Instinct 2 or 3? They're going to go, no. You know what I mean? So what you're asking, that's, I think, the old style. They would have to actually bring a studio from the ground up, like basically the way that we talk about sports, when you have your farm team. They'd have to go out and recruit new young talent and then say, hey, we're recruiting this team, much like they did with, is it Gallagher or who's the gentleman that's in charge of the initiative?
Gallagher.
Those guys there. And say, listen, we're going to create this type. Remember, that's exactly what I'm saying. They went and recruited talent, and then they were making a Perfect Dark. So that's an older IP that they own. Okay, so if you want that same fighting game to come back there, Killer Instinct, they would have to do something similar where they go grab talent and put them in, give them a name, a new studio, and then say, okay, create this. If you're thinking they're just going to do what they did before with Iron Galaxy and go, hey, guys, make this for us, and you guys will be third party, that ain't going to happen. I think that's done. I really do. I think that's done. I think the medium, it being exclusive the way it is probably a result of the situation that Xbox knew they were going to be in with a lack of games. So they're just kind of throwing some very inexpensive money to them to make this a console exclusive for the time being.
Yeah. Well, they have to do something.
They have to do something.
Know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, like you have to realize when you look at what Microsoft has, they have next to nothing. Then you remember that the Xbox Wire kind of released this list of quote unquote exclusives for this year, and it was like games that most people never even heard of. Right. And I mentioned I was like, a lot of these don't look very good or look very next gen, and people kind of were like, well, crap, how do you know about any of these games? And so the reason why I knew about them was because I sat there and typed in the name of each one on Google and checked them out, and a lot of them were like, very much indie, like 8-bit or 16-bit type of stuff. That has a place. I really feel like it has a place.
Right.
But damn, Mooch, Where's the big triple A's? That's like,
Well,
that's what gets me.
I'm
It's
just
like,
telling you, crap. And you know the answer to this already. Those are not. You're not gonna. I don't listen unless. And listen, companies don't hide big AAA games from us. They may not give a release date, but they're gonna. I don't see that. What you want and what you've been asking for is Halo. You're gonna get Halo at the end of the year, seemingly, and then you're into 2022. So you're not that number that you're tallying every day, 513. You might as well just go ahead and stop counting it day to day and just bring that total all the way up to the release of Halo Infinite. So how many days are in between today and Halo Infinite, you can just go ahead and add that because you're not going to get anything in between. I mean, let me just put it this way. If anybody in the chat or anybody listening later or Crap or Nova, you guys as well, would you guys see like if you were Microsoft and you had a huge AAA exclusive coming out this year before Halo, would we have at least known the name of it by now? Probably.
Yeah,
for sure.
Listen, like Mike, that's I think they would have, because if you look at it right now, you have the Xbox Series X. Well, maybe they feel like they don't really have to do much, and that could be a good strategy.
That is
because and the reason why I could say that they might not feel like they have to do much is because people have FOMO. You got what FOMO stands for, right? Fear of missing out.
Yep.
So people have that fear when it comes to Xbox and when it comes to PlayStation. My older brother, I went through his trials and tribulations trying to find a PlayStation 5. He wanted one so bad, fear of missing out. He spent more than the retail price to get one off eBay. Okay. His gets here this week. He's super excited about it. A lot of people have that regardless of the platform. So there's people out there that really just want that Xbox Series X regardless. So that thing will probably keep selling out whatever stock they have.
Right.
And people keep buying it regardless of what's available to play on it. Okay. And that's probably what's going to happen. AMD has said that, there's a problem with a shortage with the chips and it's not going to be worked out till later this year. So again, maybe it behooves Microsoft to not have anything. I don't know. But for me personally, but for the fans that actually have some, I don't know how many people have one, 1 million, 2 million, whatever it is. For us, we're stuck like with no other choice but to play like old games. And look, Mooch, this year is going to be like unlike any other year, I think. And we can, the pandemic plays a big role in this. Like, this is what I said to people. Like, I sometimes get in arguments with people on Twitter, probably more than I should, but I don't like blocking people because they have a different of opinion. Some people will go, well, Fable for sure is going to launch next year because they've been working on that since like 2017. Like, they don't understand like the little nuances, like, or you just use your common sense. Okay. So while it's true that they had some kind of game, if you remember right, like Playground Games was building a pitch for a new RPG, right? It was going to be a brand new AAA open world RPG. The success of Horizon Zero Dawn in 2017 got Phil Spencer interested in bringing Fable back. Okay.
Right.
So Playground Games pitched this idea for an RPG to publishers. Nobody wanted it. And I believe, and people that might not believe what I'm saying, I believe this story might have come from Rand Outdoor. So, I mean, you guys can double check with him. But I believe what happened was they pitched this idea for this RPG to all these publishers. This was before Microsoft bought them. And nobody wanted anything to do with it because they'd only done a racing game. That's all they've done. So after the success of Horizon Zero Dawn, Phil Spencer thought, well, maybe we can get them to switch this and do a Fable game. So they asked him to do the Fable game after the release of Forza Horizon 4, which was 2018. And then they had to do the expansions and stuff like that. So then they started staffing up. Right, I think as of last year, they still had under 100 people at that new studio, and they were trying to get to 200 people. Okay. So you're looking at less than 100 people trying to get to 200 people in this new studio, and they just hired the lead writer for this game at the end of last year, who started January of this year. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that they can't have stuff done. I'm just saying that game's no way is it going to come out in 2022. We've seen zero footage. We've seen like a little CGI blurb. The UK is where the game is being made, which has been in lockdown, then no lockdown, then lockdown. And when you're talking about trying to get over 100 people working on a game together, it makes it difficult. So I don't think that game's coming in 2022. I think 2023 or 2024. And, like when it comes to video games, guys, whether you're a podcaster, whether you're a fanboy, whatever, right? You have to think with your head, not your heart. My heart wants me to believe that God of War Ragnarok is coming out this year. My head tells me, hell no, it's not.
No.
You know what I mean?
I don't think so, Crap. And I'll tell you something. It's interesting. We had this conversation a few weeks back. I think you were on the show for this one, too, because it's important to kind of bring up, is if PlayStation ends up going more towards the route of where they're going to start leaving the PS4 games behind, I really think that Ragnarok gets delayed and they make this thing a PS5 exclusive. If not, and we still see that, because of, like you were saying, lockdown or the global issue that's going on, if that's still impacting game development, and there's a lack of PS5s available, then it's a very good chance that even Ragnarok may be a cross-gen title as well. I'm wondering if that will impact a delay into 2022, whether or not this game ends up going, full-fledged PS4, PS5, or if it's just PS5. That's what I'm wondering if they're teeter-tottering on over in Sony's studios. That's what I think may impact that delay. If it's going to be a PS4, PS5 exclusive, there's still a chance it comes out the end of this year. But if I'm Sony and you have so many games already coming out this year, you've got Returnal, they're giving away Destruction All-Stars in a few days. You've got Deathloop, you've got Horizon,
Ghostwire Tokyo,
you've got
Kenna Bridge of Spirits.
Oh shoot! No, yeah, that's right. Gran Turismo, possibly.
Gran Turismo, yeah.
So if you have those games coming out from your first party or an exclusive content deal of some sort, then they can take Ragnarok and they can move it into 2022 when they're going to need that to combat, and possibly when one of Microsoft studios should have something ready by holiday of 2022. I'm not saying it's the one that everybody wants, but they should have something. They'll have another title ready to go, and God of War would definitely meet that, whatever that is, head to head. And most likely win, especially if it's a new IP coming from Microsoft. So it depends. But that's what I think is seemingly the question, is just the availability of PlayStation 5s as we progress through 2021. That'll impact what happens with Ragnarok.
Yeah, like for me personally, I agree with you, because I think, like, if you're asking me what games I'm most interested in from Microsoft, it's the Fable, it's Avowed, it's that stuff, and like Halo. Okay, people go, well, are you excited for Halo? Sure, I'll play through the campaign, Mooch, like you, but I'm not a big Halo multiplayer person.
No.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not a huge, and I mean, there was a time when I would play, like, and that was back in like the Halo 3, Halo Reach days, where I would get my ass kicked for hours every day on those games. But I don't, it's not really my thing. You know what I mean? It's like I prefer the more realistic. And I mean realistic as like Twitch shooters or whatever, where it doesn't take like a clip to down somebody, or 2 clips. You know what I mean? It's so I always prefer. I love the Halo lore. I love the Halo stories, except for Halo 5s. I thought was a miss. So I'm looking forward to playing through the campaign for sure. I hope it's great. I honestly hope it's great. I hope they do it justice, and I hope that they do a good job with it, and I hope that it brings Halo back to some prominence, because that would be nice. That would be nice to see. So I want to see them do well.
I do have a question for you, Crap. Now I know you said that you're doing a show on Monday. So in part of your show, we'll be discussing the medium. Did you get a chance to play any more since Friday?
I haven't got a chance to play anymore yet. There were, I had some family stuff going on, so I had to take care of that. But I'm gonna play some more today.
What's your take on it? I mean, because I'll be honest with you, and regardless, I did do the poll yesterday, but I really want to get more of a test stream than anything. Getting back into Twitch, I may just do. I'm not going to finish the medium, I don't believe, on Twitch. And also, everybody, please, in the chat, not to use this moment, but let me know if you are interested in me streaming the medium sometime later this afternoon into this evening. If you're interested in watching it at all.
A stream people would have loved to hear is our stream of Hive Busters with me, you, and Warrior Wars.
Oh, absolutely.
That would have been crazy.
Actually, Worry said, it would be great, Crap. And maybe we can do this if your schedule allows it. If I end up streaming the medium later today, it would be nice if you should jump in the chat and give your take as I'm going through.
Yeah, for me, like, I only just started it, but it just, like, for me, for a game to kind of grab me right away, it takes like a lot of times it's like something that happens right away and you're really into it. I can think of a lot of games that start that way, and like the original Gears of War and like some of the Halo games. Like, for the medium, this game starts out so boring that, it's just like, let me search for clues. You know what I mean?
Right.
And what's going on? And it seems clunky, and the camera seems clunky. And I just, for me, like, I can understand. It feels like almost like a lot of the Xbox fans that are saying this game's great, because I've seen a lot of them say that.
Right.
That are just saying that because it's right only on Xbox right now. Right. Like when this game goes to PlayStation in a few months or whatever, they'll be like, oh, well, we never looked at it as an exclusive or hyped it up. Like I've already heard people say that because they got a 71 meta. I've seen people go, well, who the hell was hyping up Medium? Like, dude, Mooch, we even see people on your podcast that were like, well, because we asked them, what are you going to play on your Series X? Well, I'm looking forward to the Medium. Right. Like people act like they didn't say that. Of course they said it. Yeah. They were looking forward to the Medium. It's the first next gen game.
I can't, and crap, I'll be honest with you. I'll defend everyone that said that for a moment. I mean, me and you've had these conversations on air and off air. We have a Series X, and yet I don't have anything to actually play on it. That's native to that console. And if this happens to be the first title, I'm intrigued to play it just for the sake of it being exclusive to the console. I mean, I don't think this isn't revolutionary, right? I mean, that's the thing. And people were kind of bashing Godfall. You have to understand, when you have a lineup like Miles Morales, okay, Demon Souls, Sackboy, Godfall, I know you guys are all going to laugh, but even Bugsnax, you have a series of games that came out for the PlayStation 5, right? And then you have Godfall, which didn't fare very well. You can have a game that doesn't do very well when you have other games that are doing seemingly quite well. Microsoft didn't have anything out the gate except for Falconeer, which, by the way, people were asking this yesterday. Why isn't Falconeer on Game Pass? I mean, I don't really want to play it, but I mean, it should be there, shouldn't it?
Shouldn't hope for that. Jeez.
No, I know. You think that's subtraction by subtraction?
I didn't buy it. I got a review code and reviewed that shit. That game was not. Right. I think that game was made by one person.
Bugsnax?
I think we can tell.
My girlfriend.
Bugsnax. Falconeer.
Oh, Falconeer, yeah.
Falconeer was. And it had such a steep learning curve. Like, holy crap. Like, listen, Mooch, isn't it bad enough?
Oh, go ahead.
Like it's bad enough you're doing a game that probably isn't going to interest most people. Right? But at least it has some fun art, you know what I'm saying? Like the art style was kind of cool or whatever. But to make things worse is they made it so utterly convoluted and so hard to play. The learning curve was just absolutely insane. And for me personally, that sort of was a big turnoff to the whole thing and to the whole situation. Like they needed to do better than that. So for me personally, I think that that's probably the big problem with that. It's like, like people talk about the Falconeer as a game at Xbox launch or whatever. Right. And then I look over, it's like the Pathless was an indie game, was much better. And
PlayStation 5. Absolutely. And that's what I was going to say. I didn't want to interrupt you. I was going to say, I forgot to say the Pathless. And, shout out to there's only so much time to play these games, right?
There is, right? Like,
I still have to beat Demon Souls. I still have to go through and do certain things. I just got done. I platinumed yesterday, Ghost of Tsushima. What an outstanding game that was. I purposefully waited once. I was going to start it late last year, and then when the news came out that it was going to be 60 frames on the PS5, I said, I'll wait. And boy, I'm glad I waited. What an unbelievable experience. What a story. And crap, let me tell you something. The audience knows this. I'm not a big fan of games like Assassin's Creed, right? Yeah. And there's something that Ghost does, and I don't know how to put it into words. I think if you've played an Assassin's Creed game as of late, and then you've played Ghost of Tsushima, you'll understand what I mean. Ghost has for an open world game, it still has a bit of that linearity with the story that is.
It's like the original Assassin's Creed game.
Yes.
Where they weren't like super overloaded.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's exactly. That's exactly what I liked about those. You know what I mean? That's what, and like Ghost of Tsushima, I actually saved the ending for that for the PlayStation 5 because I wanted, I wanted to see what the enhancements were and stuff like that. And so, I'm looking forward to kind of getting back. In fact, I wanted to.
Is a great game too. I do want to point that out there. Go ahead.
It is a lot of fun. Brian Carter says Xbox finally has a game. It's called MLB The Show. Damn. I guess we can talk. We can talk about that. I guess.
We can talk about that. Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So, if you guys didn't know, the box art leaked PlayStation Studios develops its first Xbox game with MLB The Show 21 going multi-platform, and there's a Sony logo that appear on all the boxes. So obviously the cover art leaked yesterday on Instagram, and it displays this PlayStation Studios logo and San Diego Studio logo in the bottom corner of the box on Xbox version of the game. This also marks the first time Sony's first-party studio has developed a game that will appear on a competing platform other than PC. MLB The Show was confirmed to be going multi-platform a couple years ago, starting in 2021, and that looks to be the case with this new artwork. It's kind of weird to see it, but MLB The Show has always been a hugely successful franchise for Sony. And now in December of last year, I think, Mooch, Sony signed a multi-year contract with MLB, like the official licensing. And here's the deal, right? So if you guys don't know how these licenses work, you have to pay for the licenses. It's like for the use of the players names, the teams, the team names, the stadiums, and all that kind of stuff. And what happened was MLB wanted a bigger piece of the pie, because if you look at what like the NBA is getting with the 2K series, and if you look at what the NFL is doing with Madden, those games are getting, those publishers, those licenses are getting a lot more money and revenue for their prospective partners. Like the NFL makes a ton off of Madden because Madden's on all the platforms. The same thing with like NBA 2K.
Right. Baseball
wanted that. And so EA made a pitch to get the baseball license as well. Right. They would have had exclusive baseball license, and their baseball game would have been multi-platform. Sony kind of stepped in front and said, well, we'll continue to make the game and we'll make it multi-platform. So they ended up being the one to do it. Thankfully, listen, the show is a good baseball game.
It is.
It's boring as all hell, but it's if you love simulation baseball.
Yeah, you're talking to somebody that absolutely loves the sport of baseball. I mean, it depends. I literally, luckily they really don't. They do cross over a bit if you go by the old time schedules. Football starts, of course, generally last week in August. If you want to get like technical, to the first week of September, and then of course baseball ends in end of October, early November. So there's a bit of overlap there, but I'm a huge baseball fan. I love baseball, and I will say that I've bought the show every other year on PlayStation, and I play it to a certain extent, but it is, playing baseball is on console, for me personally, I think is the most boring of the sports you could play on console.
Yeah.
I think like football, I think hockey, believe it or not, I feel bad because I love hockey too. So if you don't like hockey, you're going to go, Mooch, I have no interest. The NHL games are a lot of fun. The NBA games are probably the best looking and most accurate mechanics in gaming. And then football's fun. And I think baseball, unfortunately, isn't dead last, because in Mooch's book, baseball does rank higher than driving simulators, like NASCAR games, like, of course, Forza or Gran Turismo. I'd much rather play baseball than those. That's me. That's a me problem. But as far as the main sports categories go, baseball is typically pretty boring to play on a console. And I know some of you guys won't agree with me, and that's fine. I know the show sells a lot of copies every year, crap. So there are people that love it. I just personally don't. It's very hard to sit there for 9 innings and pick the pitch.
Yeah, and then
decide the
160
location,
games, and
throw the ball, bunt the ball, foul ball. Do it again. It's like, okay, I you know what I mean? Like when this is happening in real time with real players, that for a lot of people, a lot of people go, Mooch, you're full of it. Meanwhile, I go, hey, do I watch all 9 innings? No, but I'll watch almost like 100 to 120 New York Mets games a year. I'll usually watch from like the 5th inning on to the finish. But nonetheless, I watch games all the time. I always have baseball on in the summer in the house. My point being is that people are like, oh, baseball's boring. If you think baseball's boring, like, deciding which corner of the box to throw the pitch, and whether it's going to be a sinker, a curve, you know what I mean, a 12-6 split. I mean, it's not as much fun as people think it is. I personally think a lot of people buy it, play a couple of games, and then kind of shelf it. But good for Xbox to get the game, crap, and great for Sony to be able to keep the rights to make the game and then make those dividends on Xbox, because Xbox has been doing that on PlayStation for years with Minecraft.
Yeah,
and other games, and now Sony can do that on Xbox's console. They can make some money and kind of double dip on their side.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody that's watching, please like the video, share it out, subscribe if you haven't already. Hey, Mooch, did you know YouTube does this thing now? When you hit the bell, there's different tiers to that now too. You can click to
Okay.
be notified to everything, to some
Oh.
stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, thanks. Hey YouTube, it's not enough that you just subscribe to somebody, right? Like that'd be crazy, right?
That's
It'd be
hard enough.
It'd be crazy. You subscribe to somebody to get their notifications of that creator's, content. Like that'd be crazy to alert everybody. No, there's different tiers to the bell situation. So if you guys want to go ahead and hit the bell, that would be great. Look, January, I kind of took it easy on YouTube. I've got some cool stuff planned for February. I've been recording new gameplay and stuff like that, and I've got some ideas. So, hopefully you guys are all enjoying the show and stuff like that. It's always fun to kind of do these shows and just have a good time with that. Mooch,
Yes.
I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about this stuff with Xbox Live Gold because, a lot of people were talking about it, and we were talking about it on Crossfire. Now, if you guys don't know, Microsoft very poorly read the room and tried to raise Xbox Live Gold 100%. 100% in the middle of a pandemic, okay? And then due to outcry from, fans and non-fans alike, they kind of cut that off or whatever, and it got cut off, and they came back that night and we're like, hey, we're sorry. You know what I mean? And they apologized, and then they're like, well, we're going to go ahead and remove the paywall and for free-to-play games, and we're sorry that we did this, blah, blah, blah. Now, the problem with this, Mooch, is that when it comes to this, and, Z Tiny was out there, and he was like, well, they're still going to look for ways to monetize and get more out of each player. Now, the thing that I question is Microsoft Xbox division just came off of record-breaking income off of the previous quarter. You know what I mean? We're in the middle of a pandemic. They already made the most money they've ever made. What in the hell were they thinking by raising gold prices 100%?
Right.
When you're already breaking records and having record-breaking revenue, it doesn't make sense to me. You really don't have anything to really show your gamers.
I'm just thinking of this analogy on the fly, but if you've ever been to any amusement park, okay, where the amusement park calls for tickets, right? Tickets to ride the rides.
Yeah.
So you walk up to the booth and you say, well, how much is one ticket for one ride? And they'll say $5 a ticket. You're like, wow, okay, that's not too bad, I guess. And then you're like, but if you want to get 20 tickets, right, instead of the 5 times 20 and it being $100, they'll say buy the book of tickets, and it's $80. So what they're doing there is that's the set price. Then you go 6 weeks later and you find out that the single ticket is now $10, and the book stayed at $80. Right? Now you say, well, wait a minute, you doubled the price. What do you do now? Do you pay double the price and ride the one ride you like to get on, or do you buy the book eventually? Because eventually it'll pay itself back, right? And you get to force people into paying $80. Bad analogy in a certain extent. I'm just trying to give people something on the fly. What Microsoft ultimately was doing there, crap, is they were literally, without pushing you physically, they were mentally pushing you towards Game Pass Ultimate, which encompassed Xbox Live Gold. So they want if you look at this, and I understand that people in the chat, there's a lot of Xbox fans that are here today. Please understand what I'm trying to say here. You have to just clear your mind for a second. Xbox Game Pass is climbing, but it's climbing very slowly. Xbox Game Pass has been a thing since 2017, 2018. Here we are in 2021, and it's 18 million. And 18 million is a large number when you think about 18 million, like, if you look at the census in our little world, right? But it's not a lot as far as business is concerned, not on the grand scale of money they're putting out for this thing. So how do they get the 53 or 63 or 70 million, whoever's paying for Xbox Live Gold, how do they force them to move into the 18 million category? Well, how do we get them over there? You make that price higher for the single admission and keep the book of tickets the same price, and hopefully they'll move over and go, for a little bit more, I get to ride more rides, right? So that's the thought. I'll get more games if I go and buy the book. So that's their idea, is they're trying to shuffle people into Xbox Game Pass. But that tells you something as a customer. It tells me that Xbox Game Pass is not doing what they wanted it to do. Okay, you have people on the internet saying, look, it's going up, so don't listen to people who are saying it's not doing well. Listen, it's going up, but look at the hardcore gamers, right? Look at Xbox One, which sold, 55 million consoles, when the Xbox 360 sold 86, 87, 90 million consoles.
Some would say 41 million, but yeah.
Whatever. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt because I'm going up to 50, 51. I don't care. The point's still relevant. What I'm trying to say is, so you have 50, 51 million that did that. So that's quite a drop in people that were hardcore 360 now down to 50. And what I'm trying to say to you is that that's the case here in this scenario, is that they're trying to get people to the hardcore are 20 million strong with Xbox, 25 million strong, maybe 30 million strong, right? And then you have the 20 million casuals and that 50 million Xbox One. So when you say 18 million, that's encompassing the hardcore that we're going to buy this anyways. And they're slowly creeping over, slowly but surely going up. That's why you see the number creeping ever so slowly up. The hardcore is jumping into Game Pass. The problem that you're noticing, folks, is you're not seeing the casual market get into Game Pass. And that's what Microsoft needs for Game Pass to be successful. And they're counting on influencers. They're counting on grassroots, word-of-mouth advertising. They want people to get Game Pass for very cheap, right? They're doing $1 deals, $3 deals. There's 14-day passes on all sorts of food products. They want you to try it, like it, and then spread the word. I don't think that's happening for them. Yeah. And you might go, well, Mooch, how do you know? We were having this conversation last week. Mooch, you don't know. You weren't in the boardroom. No, I don't know. But what I'm saying is I'm seeing a very slow, gradual progression. And for those of you that also don't believe me, Aaron Greenberg has recently said that Game Pass isn't making them any money or not making them much money at all. Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is that's coming right from the executive. Okay, that's not me. So now they're pushing us over. The executive saying it's not making that much money, and it's really just the hardcore that are creeping over. To say you went from September with a new console release to February's report, that quarter, and you went up 3 million, that's not a big number as far as Microsoft, the company, is concerned. Okay? Us, someone could say 3 million is not a lot in a quarter. It's not for them. Like, I remember me and Crap reporting on Netflix numbers. Netflix was at 150 million subscribers. Now they're well over 200 million, and they're still in the red. They're not doing well. So my point being is that, as far as revenue and profits, they're going to keep going because they invest more than they're making. But that's the same thing that Game Pass is doing right now. Game Pass is investing more than they're making.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. I don't think seemingly a lot of people are understanding that. And it's not you can't just say, oh, Mooch, look, it went up to 20 million. You're clearly wrong. No, I'm not. And Microsoft wants to see 100+ million in Game Pass. That's what I think this thing.
I think they're and they're looking to do anything they can to get people switched over. Because they have people like us, right? And here's the thing. This is why I know that it's sort of a strange situation, because they knew they were going into this drought with big games, and this was about the time when they started doing that thing where whatever gold you had, you could switch it over to Ultimate for $1, which is what me and you both did, and a lot of other people, right? So we all had gold through 2022 or whatever. That's probably when Microsoft figured they would have some games starting to come out, but let's lock everybody in for as cheap as possible so that they can be counted as a Game Pass member, when the actuality is so many people are on that dollar deal. I wouldn't doubt that 50% or more are on that dollar deal. You know what I'm saying? And they're not making anything.
That's a great point. That's a great point. So a lot of people like myself and you and many others in the hardcore, when it was announced that if they'll match for $1 all your gold subscription timeline. So I maxed out my gold. I got it to June 2022. And then for $1 of Game Pass Ultimate, it matched Ultimate up to there. So now the question is, that's a large portion. That is a large portion of people that bought into that in the hardcore camp. Let's say 5 million. Let's say 4 million. You guys come up with the number. 2 million. It doesn't matter. The question is when June 2022 comes, or depending on when everybody in 2022, when that deal runs out that Crap was just talking about that we all did, how many of the hardcore are going to resubscribe? I can tell you right now, as of today, things can change. Things can change. I may change my mind. As of today, I will not be resubscribing to Game Pass. But when a game comes out on Xbox, I'll get Game Pass for a month for $10. I'll play the game for 30 days. I'll beat the game, and I'm done. And a lot of people say, well, that's what Xbox wants you to do. But hear me out. It's not really the end game for Microsoft. They want me to become a permanent subscriber for 12 months. That's the end game, okay? And I'll tell you why. So originally, you'd buy the game at $60, now maybe $70, right? So you can do that avenue. Or you can give them $180 a year for Game Pass Ultimate. Or the $9.99 and pay $120 a year, or you could play it for 30 days at $10. So if a lot of people just jump in for 30 days at $10 and play the game, especially if it's a single player game, people go, well, they don't have single player games. Well, Hellblade 2 is going to be a single player game, right? Fallout 5 is going to be a single player game. So there are going to be games coming from Microsoft where you only need the month. If it's something where it's a games as a service or a multiplayer game that you love from Microsoft, what I'm going to do, I can't tell you what to do. This is as of today, and things, unless they sweeten the deal even more, as of today, I'll just go out and buy the game for $60, $70, whatever they charge.
Yeah.
And I'll just buy it and I'll own the game. Because I don't need to pay $180 when I only want to play 1 or 2 games from them a year. I don't. And I don't even know if year to year I'm going to want to play 2, 3, 4, 5 of their games. I don't know. We don't know what's really like Avowed. I'll probably want to play in Game Pass for the 1 month. I could say that I'm trying to think out loud here. Halo Infinite, I'm going to be able to play that for almost a full year on my Game Pass subscription, so I don't have to worry about that game. But it's a case-by-case basis, as Phil said with other scenarios. It's a case-by-case basis with each game crap on how I'm going to go ahead and move forward with each Xbox title. Sometimes I'll pay the $9.99 a month.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just buy the game outright. But if I don't know.
I'm with you because I'm good through 2022.
Yeah.
Right. I had gold through then, which I didn't even pay that, by the way. I think like some people got it for me for my birthday or something like that. So that's why it was stacked so high, my gold at the time. And over a year ago, and then they did that thing where, if you upgrade to Ultimate, it's for $1. You switch all your remaining gold over. And, so I did that. And, and just like you, it's like for the past, 513 days, there hasn't been a big AAA release. I had no interest in Tell Me Why. I played Battletoads, but it was just kind of a thing to see how bad it was.
Right.
You know what I mean? And, plus it was only like a 2.5, 3 hour game. I had no interest in Gears Tactics. I haven't played that. I have no interest in most of the stuff that they're putting out.
Right.
I have just absolutely no interest in. It's like if they put out Halo, I have some interest in that. I could like the multiplayer. I don't know what to think of that. Like, I feel like Microsoft is trying to do something. We'll see. It would have to be really good multiplayer, but making that free to play is sort of a weird situation in my opinion. And I'm not sure that that's going to work out. Like when you make stuff free to play, especially when you're including like PC in that, you're really giving players a chance to kind of cheat and not have any repercussions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, we'll have to see. But again, for me personally, I think that what Microsoft is doing, again, and they kind of come out looking good, right? We are going to end free to play. And people are like, oh my God, they're so in tune with the
Everybody's
gamers.
Been doing that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. They really understand us. They love us gamers and they appreciate us. And I'm like, haven't people been complaining for, a decade? That it's ridiculous to have to pay to play free to play games. Like this only made it look that much worse because everybody was pointing out Microsoft is literally going to charge a newcomer to gaming $120 a year minimum to play Fortnite or Warzone, where it was $0 on PC, on Switch, on PlayStation 4, on PlayStation 5, on your freaking phone, right? Like that made it look that much worse. Well, and again, this is something that I just feel like Microsoft, for the most part, they honestly don't read the room. They're corporate. Like we've heard this been said a million times before. I understand that Phil wants to be people's friends, and he wears the gaming shirt with the jacket over him. He's cool, right? He's Fonzie. Yeah. Hey, people are like, who the hell is Fonzie? But he's Fonzie, right? He's cool. But at the end of the day, it's all corporate. It's all about money. And look, PlayStation is too. But PlayStation is so reliant, or Sony is so reliant on PlayStation, that's their big money maker, that I don't think that they would dare screw over their fans the way that Microsoft would and just not care about it. Right. You know what I mean? I feel like Sony kind of walks on eggshells sometimes because of fan backlash, and they would worry what happened if PlayStation failed, right? Let's be honest. PlayStation 3 almost killed that PlayStation brand, right? Yes. If it wasn't for the success of the PS4, there might not be a PlayStation. So they're very wary of that.
That's
Meanwhile, Microsoft just doesn't really care. They're like, hey, well, let's throw this out and see what sticks. Play anywhere, be anywhere on whatever device you want. Well, how many times has Phil said that? Play any device play any game you want, anywhere you want, on any device you want. that's our belief here at Microsoft, and I give it a big hearty thumbs up, right? And then I'm sitting there thinking, that's great because I've heard that echoed through a bunch of Xbox fanboys, right? But if you sat those Xbox fanboys down and Phil Spencer was like, I had a little bit of change of heart. I feel like Xbox should really have a game, a big quadruple A title exclusive only to the next gen Xbox. I bet you those people would all turn their tide really quick and they would be like, oh, hell yeah. Right? They're not going to say no. They're not going to be like, oh, man, I really appreciate it, Phil, but could you please put it on PlayStation, Nintendo, PC, mobile? Like, they're not going to do that. Get out of here. They only say that stuff because that's what Phil wants them to say. Okay? And to me, I think when you have a product, you have to be able to try to sell that product to people. And there's not really much of a reason to get an Xbox. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, I got one because I content create and we podcast. Probably like the same reason you got one, but you probably would have got two. If
I would have definitely had purchased two, especially taking things, the global pandemic things out of the picture. And I do want to just go back real quick here, Crap. I wanted you to let you be able to finish, but he says, 9 Lives, in the chat, he says something here. I'm looking to see it now. I can't find it, but he said something about their revenue. I'm just looking to see here. He goes, oh, here it is. Mooch, Xbox had record revenue numbers. It's fine. Here's the thing you guys don't understand. Microsoft and Sony are both having record revenue numbers. It's because we can't do anything. Okay. New York City can't go out to restaurants or certain restaurants. Right? California, you can't go out yet. They're just opening things again. My point being is like, we have been stuck inside for a year. Everything is up that you can play or watch or do in your home.
HBO Max just went 17 million overnight.
Overnight.
You know what I mean?
So what I'm saying to you is like, calm down with the record, like quarterly. These numbers are inflated because we're all stuck at home. When we're all able to go back out again in 6 months, 12 months, that's not up to me. I'm just saying, whenever we get back to what life was, okay, these numbers are going to drop. So you can't sit here, and believe me, Microsoft knows this. They're not spending this money now like this is the constant for the remainder of their existence. They know that it's going to go somewhere between where it is now and where it used to be when we're able to go out and start to kind of live our lives again, right? We're all consuming digital media right now in our homes at a rapid rate. I told you, I have friends that are casuals that are like in queues every day to get an Xbox or a PlayStation.
My older brother is the casualist they get. He loves PlayStation VR and those. Well,
I love 9 Lives. I love 9 Lives' answer. Mooch, we aren't opening anytime soon. So 9 Lives, that's it. You want us to? We'll just stay inside forever so Xbox can keep doing well. Listen, my point being is like this is going to end eventually, and numbers will kind of be grounded again, and Microsoft knows this. So what I'm saying is you can't keep throwing out the whole, well, they're doing great right now. Well, no kidding. Like Crap just said, Netflix, HBO Max, everybody's numbers are up. Everybody's home. We're buying anything we can with the click of any remote control we have, right? So everything's up. But that's not the way it is once you can get back to going to sporting events, once restaurants all open up again, once you have to go back to activities, right? Things to do outside. Remember outside? It's still there.
Outside?
Right, outside.
Never heard of it.
So, you know what I mean? My point being, Crap, is that everyone's like, well, don't worry, they're doing fine. That's today. So what I'm saying to you guys is that you can't go by Sony and Microsoft's numbers today. It's just not the way it is. Those numbers aren't real. They're embellished right now because we're stuck inside.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say. I
also want to point this out. Like, be careful cheerleading the fact that, to be honest with you, I would just say be careful cheerleading the fact that they did so well with basically no games. Like, I find that to be a little bit redundant to do that and to cheer that because it doesn't set a good precedent, right? Like, if you're personally happy with Xbox, that's fine. But wouldn't you have been happier over the past couple of years if they had put out a lot of games, a lot of exclusive? Like, come on, they're doing fine, but it's like they're doing fine despite the fact that they've got no games. And I think that, one of the things that bothers me is that people like celebrate the money stuff, but they refuse to call out the lack of game stuff, right? Like their lack of preparedness it really kind of drives me and gets on my nerves. You know what I'm saying, Mooch? Like I just don't understand how people can be so kind of apathetic of that kind of stuff.
Well, I see people all the time, and the part where I scratch my head a bit and is, I see people all the time on Twitter saying, "Hey, I can't wait tomorrow. I'm slated to get my Xbox Series X tomorrow," and they're excited. And one of the things I'll write once in a while, and I mean it. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I'm like, what are you excited about? And generally they'll just say, next generation, getting into next gen, blah, blah. And don't get me wrong, it's a top level answer. That's fine. And that's fine. I'm happy for them. I genuinely am. But like I've had my Series X since day one, and I kind of forced myself at this point to kind of turn it on and play some. That's why I'm going to play the medium. I want to play something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would play a MOH Crap game right now on the Series X. If it doesn't even have to be in 4K.
I hear you.
They can run at 22 frames.
It's coming
I
next
don't even
year.
care.
The only game that I have on the X that I haven't, that's even newer is Assassin's Creed, but that game is so freaking long.
Yeah, that's just.
Holy
listen,
crap.
Shout out to the great WRZ Cup who hooked us up with that game. So thank you to WRZ Cup. But I mean, I got to be honest with you. I would like to go back and keep playing. I do think that this Valhalla has one of the better stories in recent AC games.
It does, and
So I'll give
it's
it
fun,
that.
but it just seems like holy cow. You know what I mean?
To me, it's there's nothing about AC Valhalla that screams like like that like I made the next jump up. So like when I'm playing it on Xbox Series X, and I'm like, okay. I mean, it looks nice. It does. But my Xbox One X looked pretty damn good too, I might add.
Yeah.
When it played games, especially towards the end of last gen, which was just a few months ago. So there's that. I mean, I do think that trying to think of another great topic. Crap. I mean, Returnal. I did want to talk about Returnal a bit because
I want to get to some of these.
Go ahead, Crap. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Wooly Gamer says the crime was having nothing to charge more for, and he was talking in regards to, the Xbox Live price hike, which is sort of he's right. You know what I'm saying? Like there was nothing to really charge for. Like you're charging us $100 more, but you don't really have $100 more worth of or 100% more, but you don't have 100% more worth to us to really do anything with. So True Witty says, crap, Game Pass is the one that isn't making money for Xbox. Yeah, it's not right now. I think they want to get as many people in there so they could say we have this many, but we'll have to see how that works out long term. Sir X-Man says 3 to 5 games, good games a year would be worth it. I think if you were putting out maybe 3 to 5 like AAAs that were worth it, then yeah. Then Sir X-Man says Microsoft's stupid. They don't even promote xCloud, and it's awesome. PlayStation, PS Mooch. Sorry, Stadia is dead. Well,
listen. Let me get to that crap because that's
go
right
ahead,
at me.
get into it.
So let me say this much. So, Sir X-Man, shout out to what you're saying. You're only half wrong, and that is Stadia.
That's better than being all wrong.
Well, that's correct. That is correct.
Yeah.
Stadia is not dead, and I'll tell you why. Stadia is still actually, believe it or not, Stadia got the best ratings for Cyberpunk 2077 performance. So it's not dead. It's not costing Google a whole lot. Will it be here for the rest of our lives? No, maybe not, but it's certainly going to last longer than a lot of people thought it would. Second of all, I will say this much. I'll give crap the benefit of the doubt here. Whether you're talking about Stadia, you're talking about xCloud, it doesn't matter. Clearly, xCloud is out there. xCloud's a part of Game Pass Ultimate. We see that there's how many people are in Ultimate? Many millions of people. You can play it on your Samsung phones. You can now play it through, I believe you can play it on your iOS through the browser, et cetera, et cetera. There's ways to play it. There's ways around. There's many devices now that look like a controller with your phone in it. Let me just get to the point. People are not utilizing that service at all, or very, 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 very little. So what Stadia on the go, Stadia playing on your PC and on your TV and the way that they have it going through your that Chrome stick device, that's a different conversation. But xCloud and playing Stadia on your phone, that stuff is just not picking up like I think they thought it would. Both companies, Microsoft and Sony, and that's why. And I understand.
Well, Microsoft probably struggled with how to even get that monetize that, right? Because if you put xCloud out by itself, right, you're probably going to have very little,
even less than now.
Yeah, even less than now. You're going to have very little people pay for that.
Very.
So you bundle in with Game Pass, and you hope people play it or whatever. But at the end of the day, I just don't think that most people care about playing games that way. That's just the truth. I know people think that I'm a hater or whatever just because I got bad internet. It's not really about bad internet per se. It's just that and Mooch will tell you, I'm very stubborn with game ownership, with my ability to do, kind of what I want with my games. I believe that people should, I really think that people should be able to kind of mod games as long as it's not like destroying them. So I think that there's that. I think that game preservation is also a big thing. And I also, speaking of my internet, I know how it is when you got kids and you don't have the best internet and you are trying to watch, like even Netflix will pixelate on me, Mooch.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't imagine trying to play a video game where, it would be if that was ever the end all.
No.
I couldn't imagine
trying
to play video games. That wouldn't work for me. And so like I'm against it. Like, and here's the thing, like Microsoft talks about that 2 billion gamers. We'll see if they continue talking about that a year or two from now, because I doubt that they're ever going to get to that 2 billion gamers, because the games, the phones that are set up to actually run these things are more expensive than the Xbox. Yeah. Right? And so I get that. Well, a lot of people, everybody already has a phone. It doesn't mean they want to play Gears of War. My mom plays phone games, Candy Crush. Like those are like games specifically designed for it. Okay.
No, I completely agree.
If Microsoft, yeah, exactly. If Microsoft put out phone games, remember Gears Pop? They closed it down. They suck at that kind of stuff, right? They don't. Listen, I get it. And Sir X-Man uses it on his breaks.
I was just gonna say, Sir X-Man uses it on his breaks, and he plays it here and there. And I know a couple other people in the community that do use it. They'll take pictures when they're out and they're using it. I get that it's being used. I mean everything to a certain extent. There's a lot of things on our phone that maybe you'll use once a week, or you use once a month, or you use once a year, and you're like, I like to have it. I get it. That's fine. I'm not saying if you use it, you shouldn't. Absolutely. If they want to throw that in there, we're in the generation of options crap. If they want to throw that in there, throw it in there. But if you go back to what we were talking about when xCloud was being revealed and when Stadia was being revealed and saying this is going to be a future way of gaming, and where we are today, you can clearly see after months upon months of it being out there in the public for use, it is clearly not a competitive, nor like it's not an ideal way to game. It's just not. Yeah. If it's just something where you're like, hey, Mooch, I was stuck at the train station. I didn't bring my Switch, so I used my phone. Okay, you got me. But my point being is that once you got in front of a big 65-inch television, or heck, even a 27-inch monitor, the phone went back in your pocket or was left on the kitchen counter, and you started gaming traditional again, because that's the truth of it, crap. You don't feel like playing Valhalla, Gears, Halo, anything really of any complexity on your 5 to 7 inch phone screen. It's just it's not cohesive to gaming.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. You know what I mean? I think that
people are asking about PS Plus and games with gold this month too. Crap, that seems to be a hot topic right now, and they're asking you about Destruction All Stars. I definitely think we're gonna give it a shot.
Yeah, like I'm down for Destruction All Stars. You know what I mean? I think that it's very smart to kind of do that. And listen, Microsoft came out swinging with their lineup. You know what I mean? I think that that's something that I commended them on. I actually commended them on Twitter for doing that. So what the funny thing is, Mooch? The game I'm most interested in?
What's that?
Indiana Jones.
I'm gonna
mess with that a little bit.
I will as well. As well.
So
I never played it on OG Xbox.
Games with gold is Resident Evil, which is the remake of the first Resident Evil.
Right.
Very good. Dandara. The Tale of Fear edition, or Trials of Fear edition. Never heard of that either. Gears 5, Mooch. Yeah. Gears 5.
It's funny. Yeah. Gears 5, also the 5th favorite in the Gears family.
Oh, damn.
Thank you.
He went there.
Thank you.
He went
Don't
there.
Forget to tip your waiters and wait. Yeah.
I'm out. Great. See you later.
I dropped the mic, but it's connected to a stand. Go ahead.
Exactly. Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb.
I will try that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm going to complete it, but I'm going to try that game out.
Yeah. And I'm going to try it as well. And also Lost Planet 2, which is a good 360 game.
I haven't played it.
It's good.
Yeah, it's a very good game.
It's the Lost Planet series, very underrated. Very underrated series on 360. I mean, it's on PlayStation as well, but yeah, that's some pretty good games there. You know what I mean? I thought that they did a really good job of of getting some good games out there. Look, how many months have people been complaining about the game situation over there, Mooch?
Quite some time. You're talking about the games with gold issue.
Yeah. Like it seems like for years
it's been well over a year and a half now that we've been saying, what is this? Why bother at this point?
Yeah, exactly. So, for me personally, I felt like they didn't do a really good job of sort of delivering. They have different services. It doesn't matter if your services are redundant, okay? Like you don't see Sony half-assing PlayStation Plus because PlayStation Now exists, right?
No, absolutely. And I think that PlayStation Plus, I can't speak for everybody in the audience, but I genuinely am excited to see what the lineup's going to be. And this month certainly doesn't disappoint.
Yeah.
And like I said, you have to look at it from a broad standpoint, right? You can't say, "Oh, well, I have that game." Like somebody was just asking me, shout out to Face 23 in the chat. He's like, "Well, Mooch, are you excited about the PS Plus? Are you going to be playing any of those?" I'll definitely be playing Destruction All Stars, but I can tell you this much: I beat Control on PS4 Pro. I highly recommend it to anybody playing on PlayStation 5 because you're going to get the Ultimate Edition. If you haven't, I loved it. I really did. I thought Control was exactly what Quantum Break needed. I did like the actors, of course, better in Quantum Break. Big fan of the acting. I liked the live. Everyone else hated all the video. I could see how it slowed the gameplay down and all that good stuff. But what are the other? Do you have the PS Plus games in front of you?
Crap? Yeah, I got them right here. So PlayStation Plus offers, we'll get access to 3 free games. You're going to get Control Ultimate Edition, which, by the way, because I know when I mentioned that Control was coming to PlayStation Plus, people go, "Well, it's in Game Pass right now." Well, this is the Ultimate Edition, so it's the PlayStation 5 version, which is like Remedy changed the engine around or whatever, so your saves don't carry over or anything like that. It's like a complete. It's its own thing. It's like they added ray tracing. There's a 60 frames mode.
Yep.
There's
I think
all kinds of stuff.
You pop trophies again, right? Crap.
If I
play the Ultimate, I'll pop it.
Yep.
Maybe I will play it again then. Crap.
Yeah.
I'm gonna download the.
I had it on Xbox and liked it. So I'll download this for sure.
I'm extremely I got to be honest with you guys. I'll tell the audience. I'm a little sour on this. On PS4 Pro, I platinumed the game and 2 trophies would not pop. So. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. There's a part of me that wants to go back and play the game because I enjoyed it so much. But I did everything in the game. Everything is complete. I've taken snapshots. I've sent it to people at Remedy. I've sent it to, and I'm like, please, for the love of God, like pop these trophies. I'll prove anything.
Give me my platinum.
Want. Right? I'll do a stream and show you guys live. I've done everything, and the platinum didn't pop. 2 trophies did not pop for me. And I seem to be in a small, minute group of people that happened to. It's not a large group. So point being is that's left that. But I'm thinking now, enough time has gone by because I played that when it came out. I might go ahead and just download Control Ultimate, enjoy it on the PS5, get all those nifty little perks that we get with the ray tracing and the 60 frames, and enjoy it and see if maybe I can reclaim my platinum trophy. Through that means. You know what I mean? But go ahead. I apologize.
Absolutely.
You did have what was the third game?
Concrete Genie, which is a Pixel Opus game. I love this game. Before people hate on me because Crap, it doesn't like AA games. Crap likes AA games when they're in between, when they're not the main course, right? Like, and people don't understand that, Mooch. Like when I say, Microsoft needs more than AA games, that's because that's all Microsoft has. For 513 damn days. You know what I mean? Besides, like, they're from as far as anything exclusive, it's all AA shit. So, I like AA stuff. Like here, like that's the truth. This game is fully PSVR compatible as well. Really fun game. A lot of fun trophies on it. Just very colorful, very good game. And I think the biggie is Destruction All Stars, which is a brand new AAA thing from Sony. And the more I see on this, the more I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Well, there's wall running, which has a Titanfall effect. You've got soccer cars physics, it seems. And it seems to be a battle royale of some sort. And then there's just a twisted metal element where the cars, seemingly from what I'm seeing, Crap, they don't shoot weapons out, but there's, the smash effect. So it would be more contact, on a car-to-car contact versus shooting. but it has a Twisted Metal element there. It's a very intriguing title. I don't know if it's going to catch fire or not. I've got to play it before I really give it a mooch stamp of approval. But it does have it's checking a lot of boxes before we even get to the start button.
Yeah, and I agree. Like, okay, so people ask me, what do you think about that game in general, Crap? And I'll tell you, and I get, I had that game pre-ordered, Mooch, with my PS5. Yeah. I was going to get it at launch. And here's the thing. People always say this. They go, well, the PlayStation exclusives are all the same thing. They're all walking simulators, one and done, blah, blah, blah. Right. They never do multiplayer games. Here's a multiplayer game. Totally different than anything else they've done. And people are like, well, it doesn't look good. You know what I mean? Like, come on, listen. I think that Sony, once again, read the room right, because they probably had very few pre-orders on this game, right? Like, if I'm just being honest, they probably had very few. And they said, you know what? Let's let this game thrive and put it in PlayStation Plus. And day one. And because look at what that's done for Rocket League. Look what that's done for Fall Guys. Hell, my wife saw me playing Fall Guys and took turns on that. Right? I mean, you could just and so they're like, let's give this game a chance. That maybe should have been what should have, could have been done. What Microsoft did with something like Bleeding Edge, right? You have this game, not very well received. Give the damn game away.
Yeah, just give it away.
Like, I know it's in Game Pass, quote unquote, but who cares? Not everybody cares about Game Pass or has Game Pass.
That's the problem. If they start doing the give it away feature, okay, it starts to reduce the value of Game Pass. So they can't give it away. They can't. And that's the problem. But you're right. If you wanted longevity and you wanted this thing to succeed, throw something like Bleeding Edge out. Get that PC element. Get that PC gamer in there, right? And let them start buying skins and different models and different this and different that and different scenarios, and open up the arenas to different venues. And that's how you blossom the game. And if you look, Crap, use your example, Fall Guys. Fall Guys going on PlayStation Plus for free, or being a part of PS Plus, I should say. It's not free. You're paying at least at maximum $60 a year. I was able to get it, and so were you, for like $30-$35 for the. I am now good on PS Plus because I was able to stack.
I did that too.
January 2024. Because listen, first of all, why wouldn't I? I'm getting tremendous value every month in PS Plus games, but that's a different conversation. But look at the money that Fall Guys has made. I understand now it's fallen off the depth charts, but they made a tremendous amount of money on people buying the different skins and looks for their Fall Guys. Believe it or not,
it's still got hundreds of thousands. Like, I wouldn't have thought that Rocket League was still popular, but Rocket League is still super popular.
League went free to play, about a year ago or so, and now it's doing even better than it was before. So, yeah, that's something they should have done. But again, because Microsoft is literally playing a game of chess against themselves. They're literally putting themselves, they've got their king in the corner and can't move because there's the king surrounded by pawns. He can't move.
Yeah.
He can't move. You can't even make the move to put one of the games that desperately would need to be in games with gold out there, because it belittles the policy that you've created with Game Pass. It's stepping on your own foot. It's really just a classic model of that, and that's what kind of stinks about it. And you can clearly see that that's the direction they want everyone to go. Where PlayStation has, people were saying in the chat earlier, well, Mooch, PS Now's not doing that well. Well, listen, whether it's doing, first of all, I think it's doing okay on as far as Sony's concerned, the same way Xbox is okay with Game Pass. But the point of the matter is that PlayStation for PS Now, that's kind of like when we used to be able to go out to bars, right? When they had venues and bands playing. Remember, you used to pay what?
I remember going to mom and pop stores that sell a lot of stuff that Walmart sells, but those mom and pop stores had to close down while Walmart is still open. But maybe that's a little bit too much tinfoil in my head. I don't know.
Well, I'm saying this: PlayStation Now is kind of like when you went to a bar for a venue and they had a door charge. Remember, entrance fee of $5, $10, $15. That's house money. I mean, that's how they're saying it's paying for the band. Most times the band would cost them at most, if it was a local band, $1,000 for the night they paid the band. And that's being gracious. Maybe like they flooded the place. There's 300, 400 people in this venue, right? And they're making $15 a head walking through. Then when you're in there, you're buying food, you're paying 300% over cost for a drink, an alcoholic beverage. My point being is that PS Now right now for Sony is like charging at the door. Hey, like literally, you're paying them at the door. That's just extra money on top of PS Plus and everything else. Whereas Game Pass is ultimately where Microsoft is moving. They want to move to that direction. That's their primary business model. So Game Pass for them isn't that door that door money you make at the bar. You know what I'm trying to say? For them, they're trying to make that the main course. So it's a different element here when you say, well, PlayStation Now is only making this. PlayStation right now, PlayStation is making tremendous amounts of money on games like Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us 2. Okay, and then what we're going to see here with Ratchet and Clank, they're making a tremendous amount of money, charging $70. It's going to be $70. They made a fortune off of Demon Souls. Yeah. I mean, like that's what I'm saying. So that's their red carpet, and then PS Now is kind of like the door charge. So it's house money. They're playing with house money.
I agree 100%. Mooch, there's some rumors going around that Microsoft is looking to get expand their portfolio with another big purchase, and they're saying it's more than just a studio, that maybe it's a publisher Bethesda style deal,
right?
And so obviously a lot of the rumors going around and stuff like that. Again, I want to point out that Xbox fans in general seem to be more hyped about studio purchases than games themselves, which I felt like is kind of a little bit of a redundant type situation.
I'll play the other side of the coin there just for the conversation, Crap. I will be honest with you. I mean, when you are excited about an acquisition, I mean, games will come with those. I mean, right?
But it's like at some point, it's like they keep cheering for every year. Yeah, well, we just got this developer. We got this developer. And
now wait 3 years.
Nothing.
Right, exactly. So I get your point with the whole like the waiting game has gotten very stale at this point. But it's just like anything in sports, right? In the offseason, you go and acquire a big bat for your baseball team, right? Or you have a new pitcher, and you're like, well, they acquired this guy. The reason fans get excited is because if you look at their stats from the years past, they're supposedly very good baseball players. So they're going to hopefully produce for you when they get on the mound or at the plate. So they're excited for these acquisitions, rightfully so. But I will tell you, Crap, where I agree with you, is I'm tired of rah-rah and getting excited for these acquisitions. I want to start seeing the games come in. Like, is any team that they're acquiring, does any team have a game ready to go? I mean,
Grounded.
No,
I'm serious. Grounded. Hold on. There's more Bleeding Edge.
Yeah, I know. I mean, a good
Wasteland 3.
Yeah, like a big exclusive. Yeah, I don't know.
Psychonauts 2.
I'm with you. That's where I'm with you. I'm like, it seems like everybody they're acquiring is like, yeah, we got games coming in 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, look at Bethesda for instance, right? Their next 2 games that are scheduled for this year, Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop. Are 1 year timed PlayStation 5 exclusives.
Right.
So they literally do nothing for Xbox this year. Right. And I know people go, well, Starfield. Well, I don't think Starfield's coming this year. I'm sorry. I don't think it is.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, we would have heard something about it. We would have seen something about it. In fact, just the end of last year, they said don't expect to see anything for it for a while. And they're not even starting Elder Scrolls until after that game, until after Starfield ships.
Right. So Elder Scrolls is a ways out. And listen, right now, we just talked about it in the beginning of the show, Crap. Sony has such a lineup for 2021. Xbox, if they had Starfield this year, I mean, they would show it. Or at least even Bethesda would show it. Because people go, mooch. The deal's not done yet. Okay. All right. I got it. I get it. So fine, Bethesda would show it off. Regardless, Bethesda doesn't care. Like they're going to show the game if it's ready to go. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think. Again. Ready. I hope it is.
Here's the thing, Mooch. You got it. I mean, it could be ready next year. Next year could be a really top year for Xbox. I don't know. Right? That could be. Right. They could get a Starfield. They could get a a Forza. They could get a Hellblade. That's a decent lineup, I guess. I still look at Hellblade more as a AA endeavor, but the main thing is again, when you look at stuff that's happening with consoles and you're look, if you're a fan is short for fanatic. So don't try to pin this on me as being a console warrior or keyboard, whatever. You know what I mean? If you're a fan, you're a fanatic yourself. Okay. So you have to think with your head and not your heart. And I repeat this again. If you look at what Bethesda's doing, they don't look like they have anything ready outside of, the stuff that we already know about for the most part, because they've either already come out with it or it's in the pipeline. So listen, when we look at this, we see Starfield might come out next year. maybe. And then they'll start Elder Scrolls, and then probably 4 or 5 years from next year, you'll see that come out. You know what I mean? You have Machine Games who do Wolfenstein. They're working on Indiana Jones. Now, that deal wasn't just signed yesterday. That's probably something that was in the works for a little while. Now, Machine Games did Wolfenstein Youngblood in 2019. That was a piss poor effort, poorly received. And at that time, Pete Hines says, well, we'll do a Wolfenstein 3 to close out the trilogy, a mainline Wolfenstein 3 to close out that trilogy at some point. But it's not. They didn't announce it was in active development. They said they're taking a break from it. So they're probably taking a break from it, and they're going to make an Indiana Jones game. Maybe they're doing both at the same time, but you're probably still a whiles away from it. And Indiana Jones, I don't think that's going to be exclusive, but I think that game is like 2025 all day. Maybe 2024 if they can push it.
Right.
But Doom just came out last year, Mooch. So you're 3.5 years away from another one.
Right.
At the earliest. You got Elder Scrolls Online. You've got the studio that did Evil Within. They're doing Ghostwire Tokyo. Again, it's like you can see what's going on here. It's software. These companies all are spoken for. Like it seems like they buy them like they're these guns that can only load up every 3 to 5 years, and Microsoft buys them after they've already shot their loads. So, and that's just using your head. And I'm not trying to sound like a downer here, but it's just like, how long does a group of people take that beating of wait till E3, wait till this, wait till that? Like, you guys don't understand. We're in 2021. We're almost in February. Tomorrow is February already. Yeah. It's flying by. We're already in February. And again, it'll be 514 days without a game from Microsoft. It's like, how long are we going to wait? How long? It's madness. It's pure madness that we've had to wait this long, and that people are just so quick to say, well, we'll continue waiting, or we'll do this, or we'll do that. Sir X-Man does point out that he has 5G on his phone, so xCloud works great. That's great, man.
Oh, no, that's true. No, and don't get me wrong. Like you said, Sir X-Man, there's plenty of people that are in your camp. I'm just saying, I don't think when you look at what xCloud and what Stadia was supposed to be as far as the mobile aspect, I don't think that's panning out. And that's the thing. That's the problem here, right? So everything's great these days, right? Hence the great. Everything's great, right? You never hear anything's bad. So, nope. You have to stop and look at how many people in the community, how many people on the major sites, IGN, Taku, Forbes, any of them. How many of them have been doing articles on the success and the well-being of mobile gaming like xCloud? None. It's nowhere. So it's not on the big sites. It's not in the middle. It's not day-to-day conversation. No one's doing YouTube videos about it. I barely see any pictures anymore on Twitter. Couple fans. But that's my point. So when you look at what was happening with xCloud and Stadia, back when that was the push, if we go back, what was that crap? Probably about, it was a year ago. I want to say it was November, December 2019 is when we were having these big-time discussions. Yeah. So nothing's really happened. So remember, we're in the age of great. Everything's great. Because if it's not great, we just don't talk about it. So when things don't go well, or they're not as big as the company once thought, it just kind of goes under the radar, and they tuck it away. And then every once in a while, they'll be like, hey, look, a new controller from Razer for your phone. And people go, oh, I like it. It'll get 1,000 likes on Twitter, and then it disappears again. And nobody talks about it. So that's my point is I'm not saying that the option isn't great. It's great to have options. We are in the generation of options, okay? If you're in the middle of a snow blizzard and you want to put your window down and crank the heat up in your car, knock yourself out. That's where we are. When I grew up, you couldn't do that, okay? It just wasn't. Like, parents were not putting up with that. But you can do whatever you want nowadays. So that's fine. We're not going to talk about it because it's not doing well. But no one really where's the articles on, here we are 12 to 15 months after xCloud and Stadia's mobile push. Where are we today? Not good. Not good. It's not that it's not used by nobody. That's the thing. You can't talk in absolutes anymore. But it's not good. And that's the point I'm trying to drive home here. I'm not saying that if you in the chat right now are using it tomorrow or used it yesterday, that it's non-existent to you. I'm not saying that. As a whole, it's not doing what I believe the companies thought, hey, wow, We put our entire gaming library onto a phone, and this is going to work. You know, and it didn't work out, or it didn't pan out the way that I think the companies wanted. And crap, you said that, you alluded to that in 2019 as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's my take on it. You know what I mean? And shout out to Zumbila Ice Cream, great Mooch Maniac. He says, but at Mooch, he says, like you said, last gen was the one not to lose. Options go so far. That's the thing. And that's why I'm saying when we get past this pandemic and things that we are right now, where we're all kind of trapped inside, when those rules and regulations allow us to go out a little bit more, you'll start to see that like the PlayStation numbers are already bigger than the Microsoft numbers on next-gen consoles. And Microsoft's doing probably its best ever because as they get product out, it's selling because people are just kind of like, give me something to play. I'm stuck in my house. I'm bored. But once we're able to go out and everything kind of gets back to normal, status quo again, I myself personally, and by no means do I want the audience to take this as a gospel or anything, but I have two of my very casual friends. I mean, they game like once a week at most. They went from Xbox to PlayStation, and they just made the call. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, PlayStation, it's all over the news. They're like, PlayStation's so hard to get. I just tried to get one. I wanted one. You know, it's like, I got to have it. It was one of those things, right? Think about it. It was like the sandwiches that came out from Popeyes. What are those donuts called? The Krispy Kremes, when that first came out, everyone's got to get it. It's 3 miles around the corner for a glazed donut. Why? I don't know, because people made that hype. But there's so much hype around the PS5. You saw what happened over, it was overseas where they had an issue, right? Crap. I guess it was an issue in Japan. With all
in Tokyo. So they were doing a sort of a raffle. So you had a chance to
win
go in there and get a PlayStation 5.
And it was just madness. Everybody wanted it.
Bedlam. I mean, they had to call the cops in, and you had people fighting. And, I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic. This is why, like, Sony in particular didn't want stores to have them in stock per se. Like, come and get it. You know what I mean? Like, stores can have them, but most of the stores are like, well, buy these online, right? And that makes a lot of sense because the last thing you want during a pandemic is people fighting and gathering in large groups trying to get these damn things, right? So, I mean, that just goes to show you the levels of people are taking this to go on. But I kind of wanted to go back on topic a little bit, Mooch. Like, who do you think Microsoft would pick up? Because a lot of people are jumping back on that Sega thing. And I got to say, Sega doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
No, I don't see it being Sega. Some people were saying IO Interactive, which is, I don't know if that's not the publisher.
No, they're their own thing. They have a few studios, though.
Are they their own publisher? They publish and develop?
Hold on. I'll check out.
I thought, well, the folks that made Hitman, the Hitman series, I thought that may be a candidate. I see some.
They're their own thing. They used to be under Square, and now they're their own thing.
Okay, that's fine. I would also say, I'm trying to think of another one here because I'm reading the chat as we go through too. I guess my other guess would be, I saw some people mentioning the Warner Brothers thing came up again. And the thing with Warner Brothers is, unless they really make a blockbuster deal, which I don't see them spending that kind of money again. But if the current Warner Brothers deal that was on the table, correct me if I'm wrong, was just for the employees. The IP,
it was for the studios, and you didn't get any of the IP with it. Which you would just own.
Maybe what Microsoft wants to do. There's what we talked about the first half of the show. Maybe they want to grab all these employees that are very talented, and then say, "Hey, you're doing Killer Instinct 3, you're doing Banjo-Kazooie, you're doing this, you're doing that." Right? Maybe that's what they're going to do. I don't know.
Again, though, like let's just say that it was WB, the WB deal, right? I think that was like $4 billion or $5 billion.
I believe it was 4 and change billion. Yes.
Yeah. Like you're not getting any IP with that. So again, remember my analogy, which is you got these guns that can fire every 3 to 5 years,
right?
And literally, like the biggest one, like Rocksteady, they already have a game scheduled to come out next year,
right?
That game is going to be multiplat. It's already been announced for multiplat,
right?
The Batman game from WB Montreal, that's coming out this year. That's a multiplat.
That's correct.
Okay, like you would
Suicide
still like
Squad, right?
Yeah, Suicide Squad, and then Batman game is this year, the Arkham.
I'm really excited
Knights
about
or
the whatever it is. I don't know if it's Arkham Knights. I don't think it's Arkham Knights. I think is it Arkham Knights?
I don't know what it is.
It's something Knights. Anyways, I got to be honest with you. That game looks like a lot of fun. I hope they make that game
Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights.
Yeah, I mean it's
I think it looks like
co-op.
Fun.
Yeah, it looks like fun. It looks.
I want a game again, crap, where we can actually have. You know what I mean?
Well, listen.
A game to play co-op.
Yeah, like this is listen. This year, they've already pushed back the Lord of the Rings Gollum. That's going to be next year. The Harry Potter RPG, that's next year. God of War Ragnarok's going to probably be next year. I'm happy that we're getting anything at this point because, like, it looks like, you know, even though I kind of ragged on it, I'm going to have to go back and play old games at some point. And, you know, I'm not looking forward to that. I mean, I got a huge backlog, but still.
Well,
it's like,
you're leaving out a lot of the third-party games. Myself, personally, I'll tell you this much, and it's because I played Ghost of Tsushima. Listen, the crafting in that game, the one thing I will say, Ghost of Tsushima, the crafting wasn't, I would rather they up the ante a little bit on that. I'm personally, because I have a feeling they're leaving the Far Cry 5 mantra, and I think they're going to go back to 3 and 4 with 6. I'm really looking forward to Far Cry 6. I already have it pre-ordered. I got the gold edition. I think I told you this crap. There was a mix-up or something at Amazon. The gold edition that comes with everything. You get all the DLC, you get all the skins, you get all the stuff with it. On PlayStation 5, I got it for $50 or $55. And they're honoring it. I have the email. It says that's a $90 title for $50 or $55. I grabbed that back in October. Amazon, and maybe I thought it was, I think it's a blunder, but maybe that was just a promotion. I don't know what they were doing, but I locked that in. I bought it. I already paid for it. I got to be honest with you. I'm very excited for Far Cry. I'm very excited for Deathloop. I'm very excited for Ghostwire Tokyo. Horizon's going to be great. I don't think 2021 looks boring at all. And then you have those WB games you just mentioned. I'm actually, and I hear, and you're not alone, crap. I hear people tell me all the time, boy, 2021 looks kind of dry. And I'm like, man, am I the only one who got this list? And I mean, listen, the whole list I'm holding can get delayed, but the list I'm holding looks promising.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Sony can get everything out but God of War, I think that's an absolute win for them.
Right.
You know
I mean, delays aside, but I can't.
Yeah, I mean, Returnal.
Yeah,
well, I was actually looking forward to Returnal, and that got pushed to April. You know, the
end of April too. April 30th, I believe. So it's basically May.
I mean, I'm glad that like in a couple days here, I'll be firing up Destruction All Stars.
You got Destruction All Stars. I'll probably start. You know, it was funny. I was just having this conversation, I believe, with Nova before the show started. I got about halfway through Final Fantasy VII Remake, and shame on me, I just stopped. I might just start over again, and that's a game I might stream. I don't know if people are interested in seeing that. But that game was just a lot of fun to play, and I really want to play that through. So, like you said, there were certain games that came out end of last year that I waited on. Maybe I'll stream.
Yeah,
I don't know if
like listen, I started the Mafia 1 remake. I loved that game, and but I didn't get a chance to finish it because the new console.
I don't know.
So I wouldn't mind going back.
I have the definitive edition of that. That wasn't bad, but I played about an hour or 2 hours of it, and I'm like, you know what? I mean, all these games that are kind of like basically Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
well, those are a little bit better. It's a little bit linear, like the first Mafia.
It is.
I never played the first Mafia. Like
better.
I beat the Mafia 2 remaster. Good. Yeah, I beat the Mafia 2 remaster. I thought that was really great. Then I bought the Mafia 1 remake.
They still feel old, even with the definitive edition that came out, the remake crap. It still feels like
because the gameplay is
really
a little bit
old, you know?
Yeah, the gameplay a little bit is a little bit old. Yeah.
Looks good.
It does. They did a good job with kind of remaking it or whatever, but it's like the gameplay limitations are there because it's basically over top of the engine. They're just kind of doing what they did with the Halo stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like where they put the new gameplay over the old gameplay or whatever. It's the same, whatever. So it's like it's basically you're kind of stuck doing that. But you know, I have a good time with it. I think it's a really good game. And you know, at the end of the day, I feel like I'll probably go back and finish that. Like that's not super old stuff, but the more interesting thing is that I do think that the first part of this year is probably drier than any of the past 5 years that I could think of. Right. Usually we had some kind of big drop coming early in the year. I mean, 2018, we got God of War early in the year. 2017, we got Horizon Zero Dawn early in the year. Last year, we got The Last of Us 2 early in the year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, think about it, man. It's like we get these bangers early in the year, and now we like we don't have that. and so we don't even have a lot of those big third-party games.
I guess that's where
normally...
you can stand on that soapbox and definitely say that. I can't really argue with you on that point. I mean, Returnal is not going to be the caliber, I don't think, of Ghosts, or it's not going to be the caliber of The Last of Us 2 or God of War. I get that. I think Returnal is going to be a lot of fun. It is pushed to the end of April. Shout out to Painted Gamer. He says, Mooch, what studio do you think Sony should purchase next? I think they should purchase, if they haven't already, is Blue Point Games.
Yeah. It's like Sony doesn't have to go buy a whole publishing company, right? Well, first of all, I want to point this out. Microsoft can't buy Ubisoft. They're a publicly traded company. Right. So that like I've seen some people guess that or whatever, that can't really happen. Same thing with CD Projekt Red. That's a publicly traded company. So you can't really buy those studios like that. When it comes to Sony, I think there's probably 3 or 4 smaller studios that they could probably pick up cheaply. I think they should pick up Remedy. I think they should pick up Blue Point Games. I think they should pick up Housemarque. I don't think they have those yet, that company yet. So I think those are companies that they could definitely pick up and kind of maybe do something with, and get some games out there from that. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be like this huge grand overture, because Sony already has great studios, like the top 3 to 4 studios in the world. And anybody that thought differently, like a lot of people used to put CD Projekt Red way up there, Mooch.
Yeah,
right.
That stock's dropped.
That's long gone now. The only one that you could say maybe could compete with the Naughty Dogs and the Sony Santa Monica's now is possibly Rockstar, right? Like before, people used to go, well, Naughty Dog's good, right, because like the enemy of your enemy. So Xbox fans would rather say Rockstar are better, or CD Projekt Red. Well, now we know CD Projekt Red had that big flub, and that game shouldn't even come out till maybe the end of this year.
Right. Absolutely.
Judging by everything that happened,
Yeah. I do got to say, Crap, there is another game and for some reason I'm not noticing that you're not nearly as amped, I don't think, for it. I think you're going to play it. Back for Blood, which is the Left 4 Dead 3,
yeah,
basically.
I'm
very interested in that. Shout out to Nathan in the chat who brought it up. That is shame on me. I didn't even bring that up. Because the reason I haven't brought it up yet is there's nothing solidified. The alpha, I think, came out for some to play and try. The beta will probably be following it, of course, and then we'll have a demo, and then we'll have the game. Once I do we have a date, Nathan, in the chat? Sojin, I can't pronounce your last name, but Nathan, if there's a release date, let me know. I am very excited for that game. Because
June 18th, 2021.
Is that what it's slated for?
Yeah, that's what it says. It says June 18th, 2021.
Listen, and look, that could very well be the sticking date. I'm going to go ahead and just say that, just like everything else, Crap, I bet that gets delayed to like September or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. If it says June now, I'll wait. Neil says I have that pre-ordered. I got to get that. I got to get that game. That's a game I got to get.
What's funny is my older brother knows about that game and thought it looked awesome because he played Left 4 Dead. Now, I will say this. I played the hell out of the original Left 4 Dead on Xbox 360. I absolutely love that game. I played it. It was such a fun you know what I mean, Mooch? It was such a fun take on it because you play as one side and then you play as the other. Right. And you know what I mean? You try to get further than them. It was just...
the multiplayer was quite interesting with that, where you were played as the zombies or you could play as the protagonist. Yes.
Yeah, they did such a fantastic job with that. I thought that was really kind of fantastic. Now, GameSpot came out with this thing yesterday, right? And it sounds almost like one of my titles, right? It's official. Right. All Halo Infinite launch content is now finished and playable, right? That's their thing,
Wait,
right?
All what?
All Halo Infinite launch content is now finished and playable.
Oh, great.
Yeah, well, that's according to this. But the funny thing is, in the interview itself, it says that the Sandbox team's content is in the game and they're in bug fixing, polishing mode. So basically, this is something that they're saying, they have some of this stuff that's finished. I don't think that this whole thing's finished, but Jason, what's his name? Joseph Staten. He said that he's played the campaign all the way through. Well, so I mean, what is your thoughts on that? Do you think we're going to see a Halo this year?
There's a comic relief in the middle of all this that no one's picking up on. Maybe can you read the headline again?
Yeah, all Halo Infinite. Yep. Hold on, here we go. It's official. Right. All Halo Infinite launch content is now finished and playable.
Okay. So this game was supposed to come out in November.
Yeah.
So it's now finished? What was it back then? Kinda
unfinished, not finished. Yeah,
the unfinished. You've always hear like the remake or the Ultimate Edition. I've never gotten the unfinished version.
Yeah, I mean,
right. So Halo Infinite would have been the November unfinished version. A very rare finding, apparently. I mean, if it's you see the irony there. Now it's complete. The headline is now it's complete. What was it in November when they told us in July it was ready to go?
Incomplete,
or the unfinished edition. I'd like to see that on box art.
Yeah, the unfinished edition. Well, that's every Xbox game.
Well, lately, yeah. I mean, people. There's still people in the chat being like, "Come on, Mooch, Sea of Thieves is great." It is today.
Zing.
It wasn't in 2018.
I mean, look, we had fun with it, getting drinking, and
we had fun with Drawn to Death.
Yeah.
Well, but nonetheless, I'm just saying. I mean, you can have fun doing anything, but I mean, it is what it is. I think that that statement right there. If I was 343, I'd be like, oh my god, don't put that statement out. Now it's done. I just got done playing the campaign. What were we slated to play back in November? Zombie Ice Cream Mooch. It was the Craig edition.
The Craig edition. Listen, I mean, listen. That this kind of stuff happens. I feel like, I hope it comes out this year, Mooch. I would love to have a banger. It's for that just to play.
I got news for you, crap, and I understand that even I do it. I'll say sometimes just to give Microsoft benefit of that. I'll say maybe it will get delayed into 2022. That game's coming out this year.
Yeah,
like Halo Infinite, regardless, is coming out this fall. I mean, I'm not a bet man, but if you're going to put money down, I would put money down that it's probably going to come out this year. I mean, it has to.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
I mean, I think so.
I mean, it has to.
I think so. I mean, like, listen, you have to have
something.
You have to have something for your fans,
right?
And you can't go multiple years with nothing like this. It's already, and I looked into it, the longest drought in Xbox history. And by the time Halo comes out, if it comes out at the end of the year, let's say October, it's over 2 years that they've gone without a AAA exclusive. So, they definitely got to come out with this game. I feel like there's still many months left that they're going to have to polish and stuff like that. They're doing this thing where they're going to update everybody every month or whatever. I just feel like when it comes to games that have multiplayer component and whatever they're trying to do with this game, I feel like that there could still be a lot of work into it. I don't know, like there's this YouTube place called Watch Mojo, and they did their top 10 games that they think are going to get delayed, and Halo Infinite was the number one game that they thought was going to get delayed. They thought God of War Ragnarok was the number 9 game. So, I think it really kind of comes down to what people are kind of doing and how close they can get to kind of getting this stuff out there. I feel like, Microsoft and Sony both should get incredible props if they're able to get games out this year. I think Sony will be able to do a better job of it because they've had, their studios are a little bit more on the ball. I think they have better leadership. Microsoft, on the other hand, you just kind of shake your head and just go, well, what the hell are you guys thinking? I don't know. But this could be an interesting year. Here's the thing. Even though I don't like old games per se, I'm looking forward to very much a Mass Effect trilogy remake or remaster.
I'd like to get that for the collection. But as far as saying, I'm excited for it.
I would play through those before I play through anything on Xbox this year. I just would. Like, there ain't shit on Xbox that looks good to me or looks better or that would be better than playing through the original Mass Effect trilogy again. And there's some games that I just love playing through those games. You know what I mean? And another thing, it was rumored that KOTOR, the first 2 are getting remade, and that those will release sometime this year.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I'd be all over that. And the reason why is because even to this day, I think I play KOTOR at least once a year.
Yeah, so I haven't played that. I would definitely try that. We also did forget that Kenya is coming out.
Kenna.
Kenna, pardon me, not Kenya.
Kenna.
The guy spelled it wrong. Kenna, Bridge of Spirits is coming out in March.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's great. I mean, that's another one. I'm just saying, I don't think 2021.
Well, you have February. You have February Destruction All Stars. You have March. Kenna. You have April Returnal. And then you have who knows? But I'm hoping
May or June. You're gonna have. I know that I believe Sony has the exclusive marketing rights to Far Cry, so you may get some content there. And then you've got
Gran Turismo should come out either May or June.
That's the rumor.
That's the rumor.
First part of the year.
I think that would be awesome.
So you got that. And then there's also, you guys are forgetting, Deathloop is June.
Oh, yeah.
Deathloop is June. So
I'm just
saying, there's one, I wouldn't use the words, mega, mega all-star blockbuster. Megaton. But I do think that you at least have something. And then you've got, PS Plus and Games with Gold have been this month been good. I think we're going to make it through 2021 with some decent, but you just made a good point. Props to Microsoft and Sony for getting the games out this year as much as they can, because we're still in a very, very serious situation out there, and it's difficult to work in these times. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. And you know what? I just looked at the time. Damn, we went 2 hours.
Yeah, we are at the 2-hour mark here, crap.
We are, and that's kind of surprising. It was a good show. I just had the topics up.
Bye.
I appreciate everybody that came out here. Please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, and then get notifications for everything. We'll be back next week on Mooch's channel.
Yes.
Yep.
Nova, what do you guys got going on this week on your show?
On my show, we have a possible guest. I don't want to announce it yet. Still trying to iron out some details. But yes, every Thursday on my channel, youtube.com/Nova Insomniac, we have the Insomniacs podcast with me and my bros. Check us out every Thursday at 7 p.m. Check us out. We got a lot of changes coming in soon, just like I said with the M&C show. Once I get all these parts in, we're going to see an overhaul on my channel, on this show. So I'm just looking forward to the future.
Awesome.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that. And thank you guys very much for watching. And hopefully you guys have a great day. No football today.
No football, really.
Sure
there's the Pro Bowl, right? Crap, but it's not really.
They're playing Madden or something.
Right. Oh, they are?
Yeah, they're playing Madden. There's not like a oh damn, excuse me, a hiccup. Yeah, they're playing Madden.
Okay.
So yeah, that doesn't really look like that much fun. But
no,
we're gonna go ahead and leave you guys. Thank you
Yes.
so much for watching. We'll catch you guys later, and thank you guys very much. Have a great day.
Peace.